The slap echoed across the backyard before anyone had time to understand what had happened. My head snapped to the side. For a few seconds, I heard nothing except the soft hum of the patio heater and the distant laughter of children playing near the pool. Then I looked back at my wife's sister. Amanda was breathing hard, her hand still trembling in the air. "You should be ashamed of yourself," she said. Every conversation around us died. My wife, Lauren, stood beside the outdoor dining table with a glass of wine in her hand. Her face had gone completely pale. "Amanda," she whispered. "What did you just do?" Amanda pointed at me. "He lied to all of us." I slowly touched my cheek. "I didn't lie. You've been pretending to be poor for years." A few relatives exchanged confused glances. I looked at my wife. She wouldn't meet my eyes. And that hurt far more than the slap. Because Amanda didn't know the truth. But Lauren did. At least, I thought she did. For the last 7 years, everyone in my wife's family had believed I was an ordinary man. A quiet husband. A man who drove an old sedan, wore inexpensive clothes, and never talked about money. They knew I worked from home. They assumed I was some kind of consultant. What they didn't know was that I had built a technology company before I met Lauren. What they didn't know was that I had sold most of my shares years ago. What they didn't know was that my investments had grown quietly until my personal fortune was worth approximately $50 billion. And I had never told them. Not because I was ashamed. Because I wanted to know who would love me if money disappeared from the room. Lauren knew everything. Or at least, I believed she did. 7 years earlier, when we were dating, I had told her about my company. I remember that night clearly. We were sitting in a tiny diner, sharing a plate of fries because Lauren had forgotten her wallet. I told her I had recently sold my company. She stared at me. "How much did you make?" I smiled. "Enough." She laughed. "That's not an answer. It doesn't matter." She looked directly into my eyes. Good. That single word made me fall in love with her. I thought I had found someone who cared about me rather than my bank account. So when we married, I kept living simply. We bought a modest house. I helped Lauren pay off her student loans. I secretly paid her parents' mortgage when her father lost his job. I funded Amanda's nursing school without putting my name on the scholarship. And whenever Lauren's family struggled, I helped. Quietly. Without expecting thanks. I thought that was what love was. Apparently, I was wrong. Amanda stepped closer. "You've been manipulating my sister," she said. "I have never manipulated Lauren. You made her think she was married to some struggling businessman. I never asked her to believe that." Lauren finally spoke. "Amanda, stop." But Amanda wasn't listening. "She found the documents," she said. My stomach tightened. "What documents?" Amanda laughed bitterly. "The ones from your office." I looked at Lauren. She lowered her eyes. "You went through my things." Amanda shook her head. "No." Lauren did. The backyard became silent again. I stared at my wife. "You searched my office." Her lips trembled. I was scared. Of what? That you were hiding something from me. I almost laughed. "You already knew." "I knew you had money," she whispered. "How much?" She hesitated. "Not exactly." Amanda crossed her arms. "So you admit it." I looked around at the people watching us. My father-in-law looked embarrassed. My mother-in-law looked confused. The younger cousins were staring from the doorway. And suddenly, I realized something. The slap wasn't the worst part. The worst part was that the woman I had protected for 7 years had started doubting the reason. I loved her. I picked up my coat. "I think I should leave." Lauren grabbed my wrist. "Please." I looked at her. "I don't want to fight." I didn't know it was 50 billion. "No, I said quietly. You only knew I had enough money to make your family comfortable. Her eyes filled with tears. That isn't fair. I gently pulled my hand away. Isn't it? Then Amanda said something that changed everything. You know what makes me sick? He could have helped Mom years ago. I froze. What? Amanda looked at me. Mom's surgery. You knew she needed it. I paid for it. Her face changed. What? I paid the hospital directly. My mother-in-law covered her mouth. I continued. Your father didn't know. Your mother didn't know. I asked the hospital to keep my name private. Amanda stared at me. You. I nodded. I also paid your nursing school tuition. Her eyes widened. And Lauren's brother's rehab. Yes. And the house. Yes. Amanda took a step backward. You did all that. I did. Why? I looked at her. Because you were family. She lowered her hand. The anger disappeared from her face. Only shame remained. I didn't know. I know. Her eyes filled with tears. I thought you were taking advantage of my sister. I never would. I slapped you. Yes. She began crying. I am so sorry. I didn't answer immediately. I wanted to be angry. Part of me believed I had every right. But then I saw the woman who had once worked 2 jobs to pay her mother's medical bills. The same woman who had spent nights studying nursing textbooks. The same woman who had been terrified of losing her family. And suddenly, I couldn't see an enemy. I saw someone who had made a terrible mistake. I forgive you, I said. Amanda looked up. You do? Yes. She covered her face. I don't deserve that. Maybe not, I said. But forgiveness isn't always about what someone deserves. Nobody spoke. Then my mother-in-law walked toward me. She was crying. Why didn't you tell us? Because I didn't want gratitude. She touched my arm. You saved my life. I didn't save your life. The doctors did. You paid for them to have the chance. I smiled faintly. Then thanked them. She hugged me. I hadn't expected that. For the first time that evening, the tension broke. But Lauren was still standing alone. I walked toward her. She looked devastated. I thought you trusted me, I said. I did. Then why did you search my office? Because I was afraid. Of losing me. She nodded. No, she whispered. Of realizing I never knew you. That sentence stopped me. I understood then. Money had never been the real problem. Secrets were. I should have told you everything, I said. She wiped her tears. And I should have trusted you. We stood there for several seconds. Then she stepped forward and hugged me. I held her. Around us, our family watched quietly. Amanda eventually approached. I want to make this right. You can't undo the slap. I know. But you can choose what you do next. She nodded. I want to help other people the way you helped us. I smiled. Then do that. The next morning, Amanda asked me to meet her at a coffee shop. She brought a folder. Inside was a proposal for a nonprofit nursing scholarship. I want to call it the Carter Family Foundation, she said. I shook my head. No. She looked confused. Why? Don't put my name on it. Then whose? Your mother's. She smiled through tears. Months later, the foundation opened its first scholarship program. We helped nurses pay for school. We helped families cover emergency medical bills. We funded small community clinics. And we did it without giant signs carrying my name. My wealth had never made me happy. But watching someone else receive an opportunity they thought was impossible, that did. A year after the party, we held a small family gathering at our house. Amanda walked up to me. She smiled awkwardly. Can I ask you something? Sure. Do you still remember the slap? I laughed. How could I forget? She groaned. I hate myself every time I think about it. Then stop thinking about it. How? Use the memory as a reminder. A reminder of what? I looked toward the kitchen, where Lauren was laughing with her mother. That money doesn't make people good. Amanda nodded. And kindness doesn't require money. Exactly. She smiled. Then she hugged me. Across the room, Lauren caught my eye. She walked over and slipped her hand into mine. You know, she whispered. $50 billion still doesn't make you the richest man in this family. I raised an eyebrow. Really? She smiled. No. She looked around at everyone. Because you have something money can't buy. What? She squeezed my hand. A family that finally knows who you are. I looked around the room. For years, I had believed my greatest secret was my fortune. I was wrong. My greatest secret had been the reason behind it. I had never wanted to become the richest man in the world. I had only wanted to become the kind of man who could quietly help someone when they needed it. And that night, surrounded by the people I loved, I finally understood something I should have known all along. The value of a person isn't measured by what sits in their bank account. It's measured by what they are willing to give when nobody is watching.